It's Friday, February 9th, 2024. We have a lot to talk about today. I jotted down a bunch of notes here. I want to get all of your comments, all of your opinions on all of this. Before we start, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Let's get right into this right now. I want to start with this. Last night, there was a very important interview done by Tucker Carlson with the leader of Russia. Also, our own president right here in the United States addressed the nation. And I want to start with that. He said this: "My memory is fine. President fumes before confusing the Egyptian president with the president of Mexico." It was a total disaster, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't get political on this channel. I don't care if you're right, you're left, you're in the middle, wherever you're at. But we gotta call it the way we see it, and this to me is really a threat now to national security. This guy has the codes to our nuclear weapons. He can't even remember his own name. He can barely walk. And let's all be honest with one another. And again, this is not being political, but this man who is leading the country could not even work at Walmart as a Walmart greeter. They would not hire him. If you own a company, if you work at a company, would you hire this guy? This guy is leading the most powerful nation on planet Earth. And there's no way Walmart would even hire this guy. You wouldn't hire this guy. This guy needs help. He needs help. His mind is going, his body is going. But I will say this, watching the Tucker interview with the leader of Russia, I can tell you that Putin, and I'm not sitting here saying I'm a big fan of Putin and he's an angel and all that, but if we're looking at leader to leader, Putin physically looks in much better shape, mentally much better shape. And if you did not watch that interview last night, I advise that you do, because I would say he seemed a lot more honest than our own administration. He seemed a lot less confused than our administration, and he seemed to be the one calling for peace, not what this administration is doing. All we want to do is more war, more bombing, more deaths, more money, more taxes, more inflation, more money printing, and the weakening of this nation. And we are creating more and more enemies by doing this. So if you did not see the Tucker interview last night with Putin, I highly advise that you watch it. If you did not see our president address the nation last night, I advise that you watch it. Anybody that says that this man is all together, that he can think and lead a nation, there's just no way. This man is done. He just, I don't think he could add 2 + 2 at this point. There's days where he seems better than others, but again, last night was another prime example that his cognitive skills are failing, and they're failing fast. So I don't know who's running the country right now, but again, this is big trouble for America. And I saw a video today with the administration calling it criminal that they're not getting the $60 billion to send over Ukraine. And what a slap in the face. Such hypocrites, because what's really criminal is the fact that we have millions of people that need help in this country, that are going hungry. We have literally almost 1 million people on the streets of America. We have vets sleeping on the streets of America. And it's criminal that we're allowing this, that we can break off $60 billion to head to, send over to Eastern Europe, but we can't break off anything for our own people, not just vets, but people, homeless people, Americans that need help, people who have addictions that need help, people who don't have a place to sleep, who cannot feed their kids, people who've lost their jobs, businesses that are struggling, and we're not helping out our vets, our homeless, our small businesses, people struggling in this nation. And I think that's an absolute atrocity, what is going on. And every day, as I watch the television, I'm watching some of these financial shows today, as I do literally every morning. And every day, it's another commercial asking me to donate money so that I can help out vets, so I can help out homeless people, so I can help out this group or that group. And I'm thinking, we waste so much money and we send so much money, billions and billions, that has now added up to trillions. And we can't break off $1 billion here or $1 billion there to help our own people. What an absolute disgrace, ladies and gentlemen. Yet they call it criminal that they can't get the money to send over there. I call it criminal that they're not sending the money right here where it needs to be used, where we need to start rebuilding this country. The people, the infrastructure, everything here needs to be rebuilt. So to shift gears here a little bit, markets for the most part up today. Dow was down a little bit, but the euphoria continues. We're heading into Super Bowl weekend, and every time I turn on the television, it's Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, is she going to show up to the Super Bowl? First off, I won't be watching it. If you do, great. You know, again, I don't hold any animosity. I don't hold anything against anybody watching the Super Bowl or football game. Some people think that I do. I don't. I don't care. For me, I just don't waste my time or money with these organizations, especially Taylor Swift. I want all of you to know, I've done some videos on this in the past. Taylor Swift, in many of her concerts, and you can YouTube this, it's all over the place, you know, she practices witchcraft, and your 10 or your 9 or your 10 or your 12-year-old or 14-year-old daughters watch her. And I want you to be aware, this is a woman that practices witchcraft in the open, literally does seances on stage. You can YouTube it all day long. There's 1,000 videos on it. She is not hiding it. This is a woman practicing witchcraft, and all they do is promote her all over the television, all over the Super Bowl, this witch. And I have nothing against her. I pray for her. I pray that Taylor Swift leaves witchcraft and really sees the light. I don't have anything against her, but for people out there whose daughters worship somebody like this, and they're literally, you know, people, adults worshiping her, and who cares if she's at the Super Bowl? Again, this is a witch. And many of your daughters, your little daughters, are following and idolizing this. And we have adults idolizing her too. And the NFL is idolizing her. And again, she's practicing witchcraft in the open. So be very, very careful what your kids are watching, listening, what they're following. Be very, very careful. And if you don't believe me, just go on YouTube today and start investigating for yourself. Do some due diligence. Here's an interesting article today from altmarket.us. Global economic war is coming, and the threat to the US dollar is real. A lot of this in the article is related, and the author of this article, Brandon Smith, talks about the interview that Tucker did that appeared last night. I think he did it a couple days ago, but it was aired last night. And the author, Brandon Smith, pulls out parts of that interview, and it's in this article. And first off, he says, Brandon Smith says this: I don't think Americans have a clue what the real consequences of a global war with Russia and its allies would look like, even if it's just confined to an economic war. The US and most of Europe would be devastated. This is just financially. Most Americans cannot fathom the idea of a US dollar implosion set in motion by a foreign dump of the greenback. They believe the dollar is invincible. If those dollars come back, ladies and gentlemen, America will see a massive inflationary collapse. You would see hyperinflation. And we may do it to ourselves just by printing so much money. But at some point, look, the world is waking up. The world is looking for leadership. They don't see it here. They see a weakening, crumbling nation. And they're going to leave it. And when they do, they're dumping dollars. Those dollars are coming back. And when they do, it's going to cause a lot of inflation. We're witnessing the deconstruction of the U.S. society and the U.S. economy taking place at the same time. The old world is being replaced by the new world. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you think right now in the old world, if you think you're poor now, wait till you see how poor you're going to be when we enter the new world. It is not going to be very nice to most people. Not very nice to probably 90+% of Americans. So I want everybody to remember, while people this weekend are taking their time to watch football games, our adversaries, our enemies, our opposition, they are working on dethroning the US dollar. Why? Because once they do that, America is powerless. Because we're running the world, and we've abused the world because we've had the world reserve currency for many, many years. And we've abused it. We've started a lot of wars. Unfortunately, a lot of people lost their lives because of it. We've been, I think, overall a very negative influence for the world. And the world is threatened by the weaponization of the US dollar. And that's why they're going to get away from it. They're going to do whatever they can to get away from it, dump it, send it back here, and go to something else, something that has more substance, something that is backed by something like gold. And this is why the BRICS nations is growing. It's going to grow. At some point, it is going to take over, and it will be the dominant new currency or currencies backed probably more than likely by gold. And when this happens, the average American is not going to know what hit them. Their standard of living is going to change, and not for the better. Here's another one. Cisco to cut thousands of jobs as it seeks to focus on high growth areas. I looked up the average income per year at Cisco. It's $104,820. That's what the average employee at Cisco makes. It's going to be very, very hard for thousands of people to replace their jobs earning over $100,000 a year. These people have mortgages, they have cars, they have financial obligations. You lose your job at Cisco and you're in big trouble, because $100,000+ jobs are very, very hard to replace. But this is what's happening. Yet the markets are in euphoria. It's a Super Bowl weekend. Everything is fine. But yet my video yesterday, if you did not see it, please go back and watch yesterday's video about the sheriffs being informed at this meeting in DC by the FBI of many, many red flags taking place right now. The threat of grids going down, water filtration or water service stations going down, armed drones. Very, very bad people here now walking on the streets of America. This is coming from the FBI. This is what they're telling the sheriffs in the United States of America right now to get ready. And they're telling the sheriff's department that the federal government is going to be too busy. They're not going to be able to help. So people are pretty much going to be on their own. So when you're watching this interview with Putin, when you're watching the address last night by the President of the United States, you're listening to the sheriffs, start putting all this together, ladies and gentlemen. It does not look good. This is a very, very dangerous time. Here's another one. U.S. steel workers outraged over $1 billion deal selling out employees to foreign entity. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Japan's Nippon Steel just purchased U.S. Steel for $14.9 billion. Now, last year, U.S. Steel laid off 1,000 of its workers. I believe they're in Granite City, Illinois. And they're saying that more than likely another 60% are going to be fired after this purchase. So not looking good. And these are good jobs. These are jobs that are paying very, very well, probably over $70,000 a year. Here's another one from CNBC. AI might be reading your Slack messages. A lot of this becomes thought crime. Extremely dangerous. So we have companies analyzing your messages on Slack and Zoom and other popular apps. Walmart, Delta, Chevron, Starbucks are all using AI to monitor employee messages. So they're treating people like inventory. And if you say something they don't like, you lose your job. And this is what's so dangerous about CBDCs, that once they do this, and I pray to God it is stopped and it never is allowed to happen, but if they begin to integrate CBDCs, they're going to be able to monitor every penny that you spend. You won't be able to hide anything. You want to tip your landscaper, the pool cleaner, the babysitter, you're going to pay taxes. They're going to pay taxes. So very, very dangerous when they can monitor every word you say, then monitor every penny, down to the penny of what you spend. Do you believe in this? Do you approve of this? Would you accept this? Comment down below. I want to know your thoughts on this. I think we are in such a dangerous time that your phone calls are being monitored, your emails are being monitored, your text messages being monitored, your bank accounts are being monitored. Every last penny will be monitored. This is very, very concerning. This afternoon, shifting gears here again, we had a earthquake in Los Angeles, a pretty good one, 4.6. That was the magnitude. Hawaii had a 5.7 magnitude quake, no tsunami expected. And Wednesday, Florida had an earthquake, a 4.0 magnitude off the coast of Cape Canaveral. So isn't this interesting? All these earthquakes now, Florida, California, Hawaii, and we've had quite a few here. We're literally like having a high 3, low 4 every couple weeks out here. I know we've had them in Riverside, San Bernardino, this one in Los Angeles. We've had a lot of rain. Just to update everybody on the storm that we've had over here the past few days, the desert really escaped. We did not really get too much damage here. We got some rain. It wasn't too hard. It would rain a while, stop, rain a while, stop, but we didn't really get the real hard storms like Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, Ventura, Central California, Northern California. They got pummeled. San Diego took some pretty good hits too, but it was mostly north of here, and it was unbelievable. I'm sure you've seen the news, the roads in Beverly Hills and parts of LA, Santa Barbara, Ventura, mudslides, homes going down the hill, trees falling, power. It was really, I mean, just can't even imagine the amount of damage. I can't even put a price on it. Probably over $1 billion easily. Eric sent me this message on Twitter X today of this building in Ohio that just sold for $2.4 million. This thing is 262,000 square feet. FedEx used to own the building. And he broke it down to the square foot price here of $9 a square foot. Let me repeat this. This building, 262,000 square feet, sold for just $2.4 million. That is $9 a square foot, according to Eric. I'll take his word at that. Eric said that the commercial real estate correction has now turned into a commercial real estate apocalypse, and I could not agree more. But think about that, $9 a square foot. I mean, the land for this building costs more than what they bought the entire property for. Think about that. The land costs more than what they paid for this entire property now, $2.4 million. I mean, you can barely buy a decent house out here for $2.4 million now, and they're buying 262,000 square foot buildings in Ohio for $2.4 million. Absolutely unbelievable what is going on. And of course, somebody wrote that, well, it's not going to be a commercial apocalypse or collapse or depression. It's only happening in some areas. This is the delusion that some people are in. No, we are in a commercial real estate apocalypse at this point, because the billions of dollars that these regional banks are losing and are about to lose is going to bring down a lot of the banking system. It is going to be absolutely horrendous. And this has begun in 2023. It is continuing in 2024. We're going to see more destruction, more carnage in commercial real estate, and it's going to go on from 2024 right into 2025. But how bad does it get this year? I think it's going to get pretty bad. Now, I want to finish with this last article because our local border patrol in India arrests Chinese nationals found with thousands of gift cards and fake driver's licenses. This happened not too far from where I'm making this video right now. 23 fake Pennsylvania driver's licenses and thousands of gift cards. Now, nobody goes into China and nobody leaves China without the government allowing it. So when we look at all these people, coming over here from China, the government has allowed them to come over here. And why have they allowed them to come over here? I would assume that these people are going to get jobs, or they're going to get into schools. They're going to get into communities. Maybe they'll get into law enforcement. Who knows? Maybe they'll get into the military. And what are they going to do? They're going to report back to China. They're going to report back to the Chinese government of what's happening here in these communities, in these companies, in these schools, in the military. Remember, nobody can get into China and nobody can get out unless the Chinese government allows it. These people are allowed to come here. And why are they coming here? What is the agenda? I'm going to leave it there today. Comment down below. So much happening, but very, very concerning watching the president last night and his condition. We look extremely weak to the world. There is no doubt about it. And again, it's not political. He's a very frail, weak man. His cognitive skills are failing. And this is what is representing this country right now. And it's very, very weak and it's very, very dangerous. You look at Putin last night. He looks strong. He looks like his mind is there. He looks loyal to his country. Again, I'm not sitting here, saying I'm a fan of Putin or I love Putin or anything like that. We're just comparing. He looks strong. He looks like a leader. Our president did not. Our president has marbles in his mouth. Our president can't speak. He can't think. He can't remember anybody's names. He's getting other leaders confused. He can't find his way off stage. Putin is strong. And he does nothing but talk about his loyalty to his country. He brought out the history of his country. And he said some things last night, and watch the interview. I'm not going to sit here and get into it on this video today, but he said some things. And he wants peace. And he said that we don't, that we won't allow it. But he wants it, but we don't want it. And he said that this war would be over quickly if we would stop sending weapons over to Ukraine. And that we're just allowing and financing this war to go on and on and on. That if we would cut the weapons off, it would be over. So we're promoting this, and by promoting it, more people, more soldiers lose their lives. But it's a very, very fascinating interview. The first half an hour was a little bit boring because he's just giving basically a history lesson of Russia and Ukraine. Then after that, he gets into some things. And it was very, very good. And I think when you look at the leadership of Russia and the leadership we have here in America, there's a big difference. One looks very powerful and one looks very, very weak. And to me, this is very, very dangerous for the United States. I'm going to leave it there today. Comment down below. Please like, share, subscribe. God bless every one of you. Pray for America. Please pray for America. We need a miracle. There's no doubt about it. And I look forward to speaking with all of you very, very soon.